Prime Minister Mark Carney was among the world leaders taking part in a meeting of the Coalition of the Willing, discussing how to maintain support for Ukraine. Carney attended the meeting virtually, chaired by the President of France and the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, and with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in attendance. Speaking after the meeting, French President Emmanuel Macron says that 26 nations are ready to take part in an international security force as part of security guarantees for Ukraine. The leaders also held a call with U.S. President Donald Trump with word that U.S. contributions to those security guarantees are expected to be finalized in the coming days. And for more on this, let's bring in military analyst and former commander of NATO forces in southern Afghanistan, retired Major General David Fraser. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk to us about the scope of these security guarantees that are being proposed for Ukraine amongst the Coalition of the Willing.
Well, I think politically it demonstrates solidarity behind Ukraine and for 26 nations that they're prepared to put troops on the ground. And I think that's a major step forward. And so I think that's good news for Trump and also sends a clear message to Putin. Whether or not that Putin would accept that, because he'll probably say that that's, NATO troops on the ground, is another story. But for, a large part, we are now defining what security guarantees, and at least we've got something on paper from this meeting.
And ultimately, how do you see Canada's role playing out in all of this?
Well, it's going to be a complement to what we're doing in Latvia right now, where we're providing a deterrent to Russia. We're also training Ukrainian forces to fight this war. So this is an extension of that effort. And again, showing Canada's commitment as part of NATO and as part of the Coalition of the Willing, that we're putting our flag in the ground and saying we're not going to stand by and watch what Russia is doing.
So, of course, a lot of this talk about the security guarantees is after the war ends, once a ceasefire has been achieved, at least in the immediacy. How do you think Russia will react to this latest plan, and how could it help deter future Russian aggression?
Well, first of all, deter future Russian aggression. You've now got 26 nations that have stood up to Putin, including the United States, to say we're not going to, accept this. But from, how do we get from stopping from the war and stopping it to get to these security guarantees? It does show some pressure on Putin now that he's going to have to do something, because this is a step. We've defined one piece of it, and now it's up to Putin to say what is he going to do, because fundamentally we've got to get him to the table to negotiate with Zelensky in a meaningful way, not having Zelensky going to Russia.
Retired Major General David Fraser, CTV military analyst. Always appreciate your time and insight. Thanks so much today.
Scott, thank you.